Why would an MSP be attractive to a threat actor? Well, because they're a single point of entry to multiple businesses. They also tend to have administrative level access to those businesses. The modern MSP has to manage access controls not only across an inventory list of endpoints like a PC, a desktop, laptop, etc., a mobile device, but they also have to then know all of the applications that a company is using in the cloud, and then manage access controls to that wherever the data is going to live. So it's become much more complex for the MSP. They have to not only worry about who's got access and where, but they have to worry about how the data is stored in those locations. They also still have to maintain business continuity, meaning people need to be able to do their job. MSPs are having to really segment access controls across all of those things for efficiency and for security. If you have a business-to-business application, you definitely need to be mandating MFA. Microsoft is mandating MFA across the vast majority of its tools. They're going to force you to use it. Google's starting to do it. Like, you can't not use MFA today for any of their products. I think a lot of the service providers are trying to solve their technology debt, the legacy debt they've got, and modernize. And I think most service providers are recognizing that they need to do two things. They need to offer, if it's a business-to-business tool, they have to offer some sort of single sign-on standard, whether that's OpenID Connect or SAML, etc., so that they can allow businesses to use single sign-on or identity access management tools, because we're seeing regulation like the FTC safeguards rule that mandate they have to have logging and attribution through centralized identity management, which really means single sign-on, to those applications so that they can know which user took the action at what time, or at least which identity. And it's also a way to show that you're enforcing MFA through that single point of access of single sign-on. But service providers will always have also a need to have a strong service provider direct login, because that's how you create an account at a service provider. One of the risks is that that original account creator is also the recovery method for that account. And if that isn't done with mandated MFA or strong phishing-resistant MFA, then that becomes the weak point. And all this work you did over here on SSO integrations is moot, because the threat actor is going to go through that recovery portal. Something that's a authentication factor on top of the password is being beat up and abused, because the passwords are so common that they're just triggering these notifications, one-time code sent, etc., and people are incorrectly entering them even though they didn't initiate a login. If we have to enter them as the user, we can be tricked into entering them. Maybe in a layman's terms, those are shareable secrets. Most of us will use a very similar type of password or passphrase, maybe change the beginning or end of it just slightly, and we use it across multiple platforms. So then when that particular platform maybe gets breached, a threat actor can just go and autofill it everywhere they can and just see if they, it's like pulling the lever on a slot machine, which one worked. It is our view or our opinion that, in others as well, like the FIDO Alliance, encouraging businesses to move to what we would term as transparent factors, factors that are unknown or unseeable or unenterable by the user. TraitWare's process has made it where you can log in basically 2 touches, no typing. You don't ever have to remember or change a password, and we eliminate them entirely. And yet we can layer, multiple factors of authentication to deliver a very large entropy of security. And yet we reduced the friction for the user. We made it easier. So rather than just picking up your phone to then get that number, to then have to enter the number, which is what creates friction and frustration for the users, is all those extra steps. Ours is just a single step of pick up your phone, look at it, and you're done. MFA is just happening in the background. If you're a business or you're an MSP, we do have free trials available. You can go and set up a console and deploy our technology, and you just get to try TraitWare from an onboarding experience and from using it just in that process and see how simple it is.